Good evening and welcome. Welcome to day 3 of Temple Talks on the Mystic Priestess path of self-awakening and soul purpose. So let me see if I can do better this evening on sharing this. I tell you what, Facebook is always changing settings. Here we go. I tell you what, Facebook is always changing settings. Here we go. I tell you what, Facebook is always changing settings. Here we go. I tell you what, Facebook is always changing settings. All right. Here we go. I tell you what. We are back. I don't know what's happening with the reverberation stuff. That used to not happen. So welcome. It seems like once we get Facebook figured out, they change it. So this is day 3 of my Temple Talks, covering the 8 pillars of the Mystic Priestess path of self-awakening and soul purpose. And this is all exciting time as I'm welcoming in women into the temple for the 9-month immersive process that starts in about a week and a half now. Yeah, actually less than 2 weeks, the last week of this month. So this 9-month immersive process of deep soul purpose and awakening to our destiny as the sacred feminine principle is rising within all of us, informing us of our deeper work that we're here for. And so the last 2 nights, I've covered the first 2 pillars of the path. The first one was focused on self-care, treating our bodies as a temple of the divine, necessary component. Last night, we talked about boundary setting, the necessity of setting boundaries for in the energetic, spiritual, emotional realm, and also within the physical realm with people in our lives. And so really juicy stuff coming from this 8-day temple talk. So here on day 3, we are jumping in to talk about relationships as catalyst for spiritual growth. And I'd like to read you the pillar as it came through to me. So I treat my relationships as catalysts for my own spiritual growth and am willing to look in the mirror to reflect on what I have created and where I desire to be. So I started to speak about this tonight with the boundary setting component, because as you'll start to see, all these pillars weave themselves together very effortlessly. And so on this path of full responsibility and high integrity of the priestess path, I believe one of the key pieces of taking responsibility for our lives is to really get clear about what we desire in relationship and taking a look at all the relationships in our lives to see if they're serving our highest good. And because we live in a society that we didn't really get relationship training, and for most of us, we grew up with some pretty outdated models of relationship, pretty wounded models for most of us, because we also live in a society that kind of teaches us to be victims. And there are multiple industries that make a lot of money off the victim mentality. And so one of the most empowering ways I believe we can come into full driver's seat of our lives, as I like to say, is around relationship and what we're creating. So I'll talk about love relationship right now, as this actually came up in some private sessions today, which was perfect for prep for this evening. So in love relationships, oftentimes we are kind of trained to assume that our partner knows what we want, which is big old mistake number 1, unless we've communicated clearly what we're wanting. And so I'm speaking about love relationship now, but I also want to bring to light, this is about relationship in every aspect of our lives. This is relationship to self. This is relationship to the divine force of all creation. Call it God, Goddess, what you will. whatever works for you. This is relationship to kinship, sisterhood, spiritual relationship, spiritual community. This is relationship in our work environment, and this is relationship with our children. And honestly, all of those need a major overhaul, and I believe they are getting it right now, because I work with a lot of really amazing mothers, and they're having these incredible children born to them that are coming with these natural gifts and skills. And many of these children are online. They are tapped in, tuned in, turned on, as Abraham Hicks would say. They are very connected spiritually. They're coming in with gifts. And I believe that these gifts they're coming in with are here to be part of the change that we're going through on the planet right now. And so they're being born to mothers that are ready for them. They're being born to mothers who are willing to make the change within themselves, to hold the space for these brilliant children to share their gifts. And they're unique gifts that our school system in large part has not known what to do with, which is why so many new schools are popping up left and right: charter schools, art-focused schools, dance movement schools, these magnet schools, homeschooling communities, you name it. It's happening right now because these kids are coming into the world with these skills that I believe need to be nourished. And so that's one relationship I also want to talk about tonight as well as with our beloved. So I'll go back to a love relationship right now. So one way to really heal relationship with ourselves so deeply, I believe, is to get clear about the type of relationship we're looking for. Are you someone that values independence and you need a lot of space in your relationship? That's something that is important to know about yourself and to clarify when you're in relationship. And I believe as we age, grow, and change, especially if we've been someone for a long period of time, it's important to be able to have these conversations regularly because we are changing so rapidly as time is speeding up. And so if we see relationships as catalysts for our personal growth, we look at the situation we've created through a fine looking glass and we see, okay, what here is mine to have and to change, and what is the responsibility of the other, and what is our responsibility together in a balanced, harmonious, interdependent relationship that's healthy. Then both parties must be actively involved in the relationship working. And so first thing to tune into, if you're having that question, well, how do I know if my relationship's working? It's just what I've always known. Similar to when I asked the question last night about boundary setting and how to know if you're being served well in your relationships. Is there resentment there? Are there areas where you're holding resentment because your needs aren't getting met? And then ask that question, have I actually communicated that need to my beloved, to my partner, to the one in this particular relationship that you're speaking about? This can be in a work environment too. And this takes good communication skills. And if you've never looked into nonviolent communication, highly recommend it. It's a powerful way to train ourselves to speak about our needs with self-responsibility, compassion, and love. And so definitely check that out, NVC for short, nonviolent communication. And it brings to light this conversation around we have independence, and we have codependence, and we have interdependence. And I think most of us are really wanting interdependence. We want to have a sense of self in the relationship. We want to know that we're being fulfilled, that we're following our destiny, that we're taking actions in our lives in alignment with our desires. And we also want to be in a partnership that's balanced and equal. And so I really feel that because we've been born in a society that did not have healthy, in large part, healthy examples of healthy relationships, we're learning as we go. And I think another piece of this is bringing in that first pillar of self-love, self-care, getting all right with us, because ultimately that's the relationship that's got to come first, because we are ourselves in the beginning and we are with ourselves in the end. And we'll have many relationships in the process, but if we don't get right with us first, we're going to have challenge in relationship, no matter what, I feel. And if we have a deep place of love within ourselves to come back to when the relationships outside of us in our lives are not working, then we come back and we say, okay, what do I need right now? Sometimes it's the simplest things. Am I hungry? Am I tired? Is there something I need to express? Do I just need to take a walk in nature? Do I need to decompress and put the phone down? Just take a moment. This is something I really had to learn in my own personal relationship with my husband, John, who I've been with for 12 years now, is, I find this a lot with couples, that we tend to maybe fight differently, for lack of a better word. We see conflict differently. For some, when we're in conflict, we want to just dig in there, jump in, make the most of it. Okay, let's identify what's happening. Let's talk about this till we figure it out. And then some people need to actually step back, breathe, take a moment to clarify for themselves what just occurred, and then come back to the conversation. And that's something that was really important for me to identify in my love relationship now, is that when things got really intense, I needed to back off and go take a break and walk and be outside by myself, because I needed to clarify what just got triggered. Why did it get triggered? Is this an old pattern? Is this something that's always been with me? Is this something that's just showing up in this relationship now? Typically, it's an old pattern. Let's admit it. They tend to recycle themselves till we get the lesson. And once I get as much of that I can, I come back to him and I say, okay, this is what I'm noticing. This is where I got tagged. This is where I'm feeling frustrated about. I'm noticing I haven't clarified this one thing, and I thought maybe I had. How many times we have conversations with our partner or the other in our heads and we think we had it out loud. So, that's cool. That's just human nature. And it's important for us, I think, to cycle through conversations in our minds, because in a sense we're practicing. It's just important to identify if it ever actually came out of our mouths. So just notice, this is a question for you tonight to ponder. In each one of these videos, I'm going to give you an exercise to work with so you can really anchor this in and take the teaching from this 8-part series. So tonight, this is a time to ask that question in the love relationship that you're in, and we'll just keep it in this context for now, even though this all translates to any relationship, in my opinion. Are there ways that your needs aren't getting met? And if that's the case, identifying what that need is. And is there a way? Yes, there is. But we're asking the question inquisitively. Is there a way that you can communicate this situation to your love with compassion and love, taking responsibility for your part, and then also having a sense of unattachment to the response? And so this is a tough piece, because this gets into the intricacies of intimate relationship that can be really challenging to navigate, because yes, we have needs, and we want our beloved to be a part of those needs being fulfilled, but at the same time, we don't want to rely on them to fulfill those needs. So it's a very intimate dance. And I'm not saying I have the solution. I just speak from my experience as best I can in my own training ground of relationship. And so just take that opportunity tonight to just choose one relationship you'd like to, that you need to share more about. And have this be a chance to ask those questions about your needs. Are they being fulfilled? What do I need to communicate here to clarify this need? And is there a way I can do it with compassion and love and to not be attached to the response? So, loves, I hope you got some juicy nuggets from tonight. Temple Talks Day 3. Really loving these talks. I'm getting super excited every day about what I'm going to talk about that evening, and often get examples to work with in preparation. So noticing as these pillars meld together, the self-love, body temple, the boundary setting work, the relationship as catalyst for spiritual growth. If this is stimulating something within you and you're an awakening woman in these times and you're ready for support of this 9-month immersive deep dive of the Priestess Path, initiatory rebirthing process for women, let me know. Spots are filling up and we're coming into the home stretch before temple doors will close. So much love and blessings. Hello, Gabriella, Megan, great to see you. Hi, Joy, Julie, and Malia, at least on this screen. Not sure the other screen that I saved shared there. So Much love and blessings tonight. See you tomorrow night, 8 o'clock EST for day 4. We'll be halfway through at that point. Love and blessings.